The most annoying thing about hunting Kushala is its wind pressure. When you get to the second phase of the Kushala encounter, its wind armor starts to get very annoying. It can keep knocking you to the ground and waste precious seconds you could have used to deal more damage. So in this video, I'll be showcasing 3 builds that will help you negate Kushala's wind pressure and make hunting this Elder Dragon a bit easier. We will be taking a look at a lance build, a longsword build, and a poison build you can use to fight Kushala Daora. First, let's talk about how to negate Kushala's wind pressure. You will need 2 skills to stop Kushala's wind armor from tossing you around, and that's the new skill Kushala Frostwind and Windproof. Windproof will reduce the effects of wind pressure, and Kushala Frostwind states that it reduces the effects of wind pressure / dragon wind pressure. Interestingly, having more than 1 point of Kushala Frostwind does not reduce more wind / dragon pressure. So having 1 point is more than enough for our goal of reducing the effects of Kushala's wind armor. Without Windproof or Kushala Frostwind skills, Kushala's wind pressure will knock down our hunters to their knees, and they will take more time getting back up. But if we combine 2 points of Windproof with Kushala's Frostwind, it will reduce the effects of wind pressure to a simple knockback. And if we have 3 points of Windproof with 1 point of Kushala Frostwind, we can completely negate all wind pressure effects. But interestingly, having Windproof level 3 without Kushala Frostwind will still knock back your hunter. So you really need to have at least 1 point of Kushala Frostwind to limit Kushala's wind pressure. Having Windproof and Kushala Frostwind ensures that we don't get sucked in too much during the start of Kushala's second phase, and that we don't get knocked back too much by the wind pressure, and potentially cart during the hunt. Getting pushed back and carting will lower our damage output, and that really is the main advantage of adding Windproof and Kushala Frostwind into our builds. I'd like to give a special thanks to Sky for testing out these builds and sharing these results. So the 3 builds we will be taking a look at will all have Windproof and 1 point of Kushala Frostwind. This first set of builds will only have Windproof 1 and Kushala Frostwind 1. This will limit Kushala's wind pressure to a simple knockback, while still maintaining high thunder attack. The Kushala Waste will be the key for these builds, as it offers Kushala Frostwind 1, Windproof 1, and Wex. This armor piece has the 2 skills that we need. For the lance build, we need the Radovan Helm for guard, the Kezu Mail, Zinogre Vambraces, and Zinogre Legs for thunder attack. Overall, this build has thunder attack 5, guard 2, and Wex, Windproof, and Kushala Frostwind from the Kushala Waste. For the longsword build, you need the Tsitsiaku Helm, Kezu Mail, and Zinogre Legs for thunder attack, and the Rathian Vambraces for lock on and burst 2. Overall, this build has thunder attack 5, burst 3, and weakness exploit 1, along with Windproof and Kushala Frostwind from the Kushala Waste. So if you're okay with having a little knockback from Kushala's wind pressure, then this build is great. But to get that Windproof 1, you need to upgrade the Kushala Waste to grade 8. And that may take a while, and we need that 1 point of Windproof to limit the knockback. So while we upgrade our Kushala Waste, here are some alternatives you can try for now. So I have to make a disclaimer that these builds might not be the best in terms of DPS. You do lose some damage as a trade-off for including Windproof into the build. But you can make up for that damage by reducing the knockback effects of the wind pressure, since you will have more opportunities to attack Kushala. So to include Windproof to our builds, we can equip either the Pink Rathian Vambraces or the Paolumu Legs. By equipping either 2 of these armor pieces, we can potentially have Windproof level 3 when we upgrade the Kushala Waste to grade 8. And with Windproof level 3, we can completely negate Kushala's wind pressure. For the lance build, we can swap out the Zinogre Legs for the Paolumu Legs to get Windproof level 2. but we lose 1 point of Thunder Attack and Burst. Or you can equip the Pink Rathian Vambraces, but you will swap out the Zinogre Vambraces and lose 2 points of Thunder Attack. Now it all depends on what you have available. If you choose to equip the Pink Rathian Vambraces, you can try out this Offensive Guard build. We need to equip the Rado Helm to get Guard, the Baroth Mail, and the Black Diablo's Legs to get Offensive Guard. We equip the Pink Rathian Vambraces to get Windproof level 2 and Crit Eye. And then lastly, we need to equip the Kushala Waste to get Kushala Frostwind, Wex, and when upgraded to grade 8, another point in Windproof. When completed, this build should have Guard level 2, Offensive Guard 3, Crit Eye 1, Wex 1, Kushala Frostwind 1, and Windproof level 3. For my build, I have a Guard Drift skill on my Rado Helm which gets me Guard level 3. And I do suggest you get Guard level 3 to be able to block Kushala's powerful attacks. According to mhn.quest, the Offensive Guard build has the higher damage, but it will ultimately depend on your skill to perfect guard attacks. So I still think that the Thunder build will be more consistent in terms of damage. Now let's take a look at another build, this time for the Longsword. For this build, you will need the Coral Puke Helm for Wex and Lock-On, the Kezu Mail and Zinogre Vambraces to get Thunder Attack. This time, instead of using the Pink Rathian Vambraces, we will use the Paolumu Legs to get Windproof level 2. Then lastly, the Kushala Waste for Kushala Frostwind, an extra point for Wex, and another point in Windproof. For the weapon, we will be using the Zinogre Longsword. Overall, this build when completed should have Thunder Attack 4, Weakness Exploit level 3, Windproof level 3, and Kushala Frostwind 1. If you unlock all the skills for this build, you can have Windproof 3 and Kushala Frostwind 1. With this setup, you can completely negate Kushala's Wind Pressure. But again, you're getting the last point of Windproof from the Kushala Waste, which is gonna be very difficult to unlock. But with 2 points of Windproof, you can already limit the Wind Pressure to a simple knockback. This Longsword build is actually Matsu-san's build, and if you want to see this build in action, be sure to check out his TikTok account linked in the description. But now, let's move on to a poison build you can use against Kushala. The weapon we will be using for this build is the Pink Rathian Longsword. This is actually Sky's build, the hunter I mentioned earlier who did the Windproof tests. For this poison build, we will need the Coral Puke Helm, Titsiaku Mail and Vambraces for Status Sneak, and the Kushala Waste and the Paolumu Legs for Windproof. Overall, the build should have Weakness Exploit 3, Status Sneak 3, Windproof 3, and Kushala Frostwind 1. Negating Kushala's Wind Armor using this build will allow you to consistently apply the Poison status. If you're interested in making a Poison build for Kushala, give this build a try. So while our Kushala Wastes do not have Windproof unlocked just yet, these builds will have Windproof 2, which will be enough to limit Kushala's Wind Pressure to a simple knockback. Now to further optimize these builds for DPS, you might want to try and Drift Smelt Windproof into your armor, so you don't have to equip the Paolumu Legs or the Pink Rathian Vambraces. Or you can try to Drift Smelt more Thunder Attack skills for more damage. And those are just some builds that can help you negate Kushala's Wind Pressure. The goal of these builds is to limit the effects of Kushala's Wind Armor while still having enough damage to slay this Elder Dragon. If you want to see more build ideas, check out this video next where I share the Elemental Gunlance builds that I use.